After 11 long years, the day is finally here. Megan Fox has finally returned to horror with a new movie called Till Death. But is it worth it? Let's find out. Till Death stars Megan Fox, Ian Mackin, and is directed by S.K. Dale. What's up, guys? Till Death just dropped today for the first time. If you remember, a couple months ago on one of my streams, I talked about Megan Fox returning to horror. The trailer dropped for this movie, Till Death. And I'm not gonna lie, I was skeptical going into this, because let's face it, Megan Fox, we're not dealing with Meryl Streep here, okay? We're dealing with Megan Fox, but what is so cool is that, 11 years ago, she did Jennifer's Body, and I think it was panned by critics, but it was kind of just like swept under the rug, like nobody was really rejoicing in it back then. And then all of a sudden there was just like this resurgence last year, I think, for Jennifer's Body for some reason. And I love that because from the get, I always loved Jennifer's Body. I saw it back when it first came out, and I thought it was gonna be this huge hit. This is a no-brainer. Diablo Cody wrote this, and Amanda Seyfried. I was completely shocked that this movie didn't become a huge success. But I also love it when movies eventually find their audience and become cult classics, which is what it did. So here we are, this new movie, Till Death, which I think is definitely like a hodgepodge of so many different types of movies. Obviously, the first thing is Gerald's Game, which came out a few years ago, the Stephen King, where you have this woman, the wife, and she is tied to the bed. Sort of like that in here, but she's not tied to the bed. She wakes up and her husband is dead.
I know one surprise isn't gonna fix everything.
I love you with all of my heart. Till death do us part.
And I'm being very careful with spoilers here because I want you guys to go into this not really knowing anything. That's your basic premise. What do you do when you're in this cabin and it's freezing outside, snow, and you are handcuffed to your husband? And also, you have these robbers that come in, which you can compare that to like Panic Room, The Collector, those type movies. And it's like, I guess it's like a thriller cake mix. It's a fun little mix of different things put together, and what do you get? What comes out after you blend it all up? I'm gonna go ahead and tell you right now, I was shocked. I really, really enjoyed this movie. It's not perfect, but it's a welcome return of Megan Fox to the horror genre. It's more of a thriller, but us horror fans, we love thriller movies anyway, right? And you're gonna have a blast with this movie. It does start off kind of slow. They're building the backstory of Megan Fox. She plays this character, Emma, and you can see that there have been some troubles in the past with her husband. And they're going to this cabin to try to, I guess, rekindle. And when she wakes up the next morning, this is where the story really kicks into high gear. And I gotta say, Megan Fox was great in this. She definitely has to get physical, and I'm not talking about that type of physical. I'm talking about like dragging her dead husband's body around the house. And by the way, it's snowing outside, it's freezing, which adds another great element because I always love horror movies that are set in the snow. And this, you get that with this. So that just adds another element of danger. But really, this is Megan Fox's show. She is in pretty much just about every scene in this movie, and she owns it. She really puts in the work, and a lot of times it seems like she's doing her own stunts. I'm sure there are some moments in here where there's a stunt double, but for the most part, it definitely looks like it's her. Now, the robbers in this are played by Callan Mulvey and Jack Roth. There is a history there, again, which I'm not going to go into, between, I guess, the leader of the two, their brothers, and Megan Fox's character. So there's a reason that they're there. But really what I loved about these two characters were that they were not superficial, just generic robbers that are planted inside a story. Remembering back to The Collector and how you had Arkin, who was this robber, and we all love Arkin. He's such a great character. Same thing here, and funny enough, I gotta say, and it just dawned on me right now, Callan McCoy looks kind of like Josh Stewart. And I've seen him in so many things before, notably Batman v Superman. I think he was in both cuts, but yeah, he's just one of those character actors that I've seen floating around in so many different properties and TVs and movies. But you know, these robbers, there's this conflict between them, you know, because one of them is just a complete asshole, you know, hard-edged criminal who is violent, and then his younger brother is not so much that, and so they play with those elements throughout. Now, really, the last thing I'm going to talk about is the last act, and really just the whole movie, how it's just a constant build. And there's quite a few moments, especially in the last act, where you're gripping your chair and you're really rooting for her. And there's quite a few like by the skin of my teeth moments where Emma is trying to, you know, get out of these situations. And, you know, we love those moments in movies where, you know, she's on one side of the car and on the other side of the car is the villain. You know, those nail-biting moments. A lot of that stuff in here. But really the big thing too is I'm just rooting for this character throughout the whole thing. Megan Fox, again, did a great job in this. Now, as far as any cons, I definitely have to mention this is not a perfect movie. There are some moments where you feel like she might have been able to get out of the handcuffs in a certain way. But I guess when you're in this type of situation, sometimes you might not be all together there. You know, you're panicking. And there's the obvious type things like the next day, would her makeup be that perfect? I guess if it's Megan Fox, it would be that perfect. I don't know. But anyway, guys, seriously, purchase worthy. Shocked. I did not expect that. I thought I was going to give this just a straight down the middle humdrum if I'm lucky, but no, it's definitely a purchase worthy. It's a fun movie. It's definitely one that I want to add to my collection. So great news there for you guys. So anyway, have you seen Till Death? Let me know in the comments. Also, be sure to come over to Killer Flicks where we talk horror all day and every day on Fridays. We do free for all Fridays. Follow me at Drumdums on all my socials. Support me on Patreon. Buy me a coffee. Anyway, guys, thank you so much for watching. Have a great day, and Drumdum out.